What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Inside the Horseshoe podcast. My name is Matt, and today we're going to be talking about the trades that happened during the deadline. If any other trades happen in the next 10, 15 minutes, we will, of course, talk about those. We'll get into the Jameis Winston injury, Derrick Henry, Tyquan Lewis injuries, and then Henry Ruggs news that broke out earlier today. And then we will give our predictions for week 9. But joining me today is Jonathan Peck. Jonathan, how you doing, man?
Doing good, going good. It's been a while since I've been on the Horseshoe podcast, and
Yeah,
yeah, and I've been very busy myself, and I just been doing a lot the last few couple weeks. Mainly, I had to do go work along with it, so I've been doing very well, and just wanted to like might come back in the show to along with it.
very nice, very nice. So while I'm tweeting this out, I do want to talk about something real quick before we get into all the news and stuff. Yesterday or Sunday, no, yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. It was during the Bulls game I was watching. We crossed 500 subscribers. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for clicking that subscribe button. It does mean a lot to all of us that you guys would consider clicking that subscribe button. We've had a lot of fun on here. It's been, I believe, 8 months or less, somewhere around there, since we've been doing this. We hit the number, so it truly does mean a lot. And thank you also for all the support you guys have been showing lately to the channel. I believe the reaction video to the Titans Colts game is over 2,000 views right now. So thank you guys for all the support you're showing, just being cool, and thank you to the Titans fans too that weren't being complete jerks in the comments. There was a couple that were like, "Haha, you guys stink, Titans #1," but like a lot of you guys were like, "Hey, good game," and I do appreciate things like that. So, but yeah, before we got into everything, I did want to thank you guys for clicking the subscribe button, and we're gonna keep going at it. We're having a lot of fun doing this, so. Yeah, thank you guys. So, with that being said, I do want to get into some of the trades because a trade just actually happened too. So we'll get into the trades. I'll talk about that one because it's a smaller trade. It just happened. The Jets actually have traded former Chiefs guard Laurent Du. Oh, they've traded for former Chiefs guard Laurent Duvernay Tardif. This is what Tom Pelissero is reporting, and the Jets are sending Dan Brown to the Chiefs for him. So, you know, not big names or anything like that, but if you're the Jets, you do need to get some offensive lineman help, and especially if some of your guys are going to get hurt. So, pretty good move. Do you have any thoughts on this trade, or kind of like me, just it's a small trade that happened?
Same thing though. I'm yeah, it's just pretty much okay, and it's just like nothing deal breaking anything. It just happened right here. So basically, just doing a little mini stuff for before the trade deadline, and I that's all I can add into that.
Right. True, true. All right. So now we're going to get into some of the other trades that happened earlier today, and then we'll talk about the big one that happened on Sunday, I believe, or Sunday or Monday. So let's talk about the first one. The Texans, and this is from Ian Rappaport. Texans are trading young pass rusher Charles Omenihu, if that's how you say his last name. They're trading him to the 49ers in exchange for a future late rounder, former fifth rounder who has been an intriguing trade name for weeks, has a new landing spot. Um, Alec, I guess we can get your thoughts because you are in the comments. How you doing, my guy? I would be very curious to see your thoughts on him being traded from Houston. But any thoughts on that move happening?
All I can say for the Texans though, that basically the last couple of weeks the Texans are basically doing fire sale, just shipping
Yeah.
off to everyone along with it. So this is not surprise me at all. And basically they're just free fire sale right here, and basically just kind of tanking this year basically, and basically try to get a high draft pick or one of the
Right.
pass rushers like Keon Thibodeau or Aiden Hutchinson along with it. So basically, I have a feeling that the Texans want to keep an eye on these players throughout next year's draft. Along with it, they just basically get away with some assets.
True. And yes, that's who got traded, Alec. I just can't pronounce his name. And then trading everybody except that pervert too. Yeah, uh that is true. I actually had him in the thumbnail because I thought maybe a trade could have happened today because there's so many things going on. But right now, we're about 9 minutes away from the trade deadline being over. Nothing's
Mhm.
happened yet. I mean, we all know why nothing's happened, but still, I thought that it would happen. And then that's just mean, Matt, that he just wanted to get away from the Texans. That's mean. I mean, it's true, but that's mean.
Yeah,
Uh, and then
although he's
yes, right. And then yes, I do agree. Hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. If you guys have not already, it would mean a lot if you guys would do that. And should the Colts trade Wentz? No, absolutely not. No way. You don't trade a quarterback after one bad day. But we'll probably talk about that as the show goes on. Now let's get to the next trade that happened today. The kind of the bigger trade of the day, I would say, and that is the Steelers, and this is also from Ian Rappaport. The Steelers are trading Melvin Ingram to the Kansas City Chiefs in exchange for a sixth rounder. Um, you know, not surprising. He was a name that was kind of being brought up as potential a potential trade, as far as somebody who could be up for grabs. So I wasn't surprised. I thought maybe a fifth rounder at least, not a sixth rounder, because the guy, you put him in the right system, he's going to be able to contribute and do good things for you. Any thoughts on that, Jonathan?
For the Steelers, I don't think it's that big of a loss. So even when he was on the Steelers, he just didn't do anything in the match. So basically, the Steelers just willing to probably shut them off to a team that really desperately need defense along with it. Even they won last night, they still desperately need defense along with it. And this is sort of the
Mhm.
start of it. So
Yeah,
I think it's a very low risk, high reward for the Chiefs, though, if they want to fix that some of their defense.
true, definitely. But
Okay.
Chiefs definitely need help on that defense, and he should be helped for sure. But now let's talk about the big one that happened just recently, and that is Von Miller. Von Miller gets traded to the Rams, which I believe he got traded for 2 second-round picks. Um, how surprised are you, or are you not surprised that this move happened? Um, because that was something that came out of nowhere, I thought.
Well, if it was last year, I think wouldn't have been that surprised all that much, though.
Mhm.
Well, this year, though, uh, it's a little bit shocking. Might see Von Miller go to the let go along with that because majority of 10 years when he was at Denver, he's literally won the best pass rush in the league for majority of 10 years.
Mhm.
And I think he wants maybe if you see his video along with that, he really loves Denver, and
Yeah.
basically he's sort of a Bronco for life. And
Mhm.
basically maybe he wants to get one ring chasing because by judging the Denver though, I think there was sort of like rebuilding sort ofly along with it.
Yeah.
So they felt like maybe they just need to sort of like maybe they just need to cut maybe some a little cap along with it for money, and also maybe there was I think Ron Vaughn just wanted to go to a team that's basically very competitive, and the Rams are one of them. And I think I was sort of it's gonna be weird to see like a different uniform along with it, even well-known players along with it. Vaughn is
Right.
one of them, and I think it was a good scenario for the Rams out, and maybe good veteran presence in that locker room.
Definitely. I mean, it's a great move for the Rams overall. It just adds to that defense. That's already a really good defense. It's just going to make them even better. And I was surprised the Rams were willing to, or not the Rams, the Broncos were willing to trade him because it's not like they're out of the playoff race. I mean, they're still within reach. They're down, what, a game or two from that final wild card spot. So, it's not something that, you know, tells me that they should just give up completely on the year. Maybe they think that they just don't have a chance. which I don't think they were going to make, the playoffs. I thought after week 3 they got exposed and, they kind of just went downhill. Especially when they lost to the Browns, when the Browns had like nobody on their team. And the Broncos were in a different situation in that game. But, great move for the Rams for sure. That's something, if I'm the Rams, I'm very happy to get, especially for a couple second rounders. And we know the Rams. They're like, we don't care. We'll trade all of our picks and we'll bring in guys that have proven they've done things in return. And it's working so far. I mean, you see what Stafford's done to that offense. The offense is looking better. Now they add Von Miller, who's going to give them that veteran presence for that defense. Seeing him and seeing Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey all on the same team, on the same defense it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but great move for the Rams. Yeah, they're definitely beefing up that team to make a run for a Super Bowl. I'll bring up some more comments real quick. Alex says that we're in rebuild mode. I'm okay with everybody leaving and raking in the draft picks. Yeah, that's how I would feel too, for sure. He also says that he wished the McNairs would just sell the team. That wouldn't be a bad idea.
Although I'm kind of surprised that basically its owner basically says over his thing during a golf course a week ago. So I'm really surprised about that.
Yeah, true, definitely. Um, but and we got Maddie who says, Alec, why doesn't the NFL just let the Texans and Jets get the whole first round? Yeah, it probably would help them, for sure. And then Alex says Chiefs need all help they can get. In the defense, for sure. Vaughn to the Rams for some draft picks is a great move. Now they have veteran presence in that locker room, for sure. And Alec agrees with Maddie's statement there. And then Schlu2222 says, it hurts to sit back and watch the Colts not try to make the team better, no matter if it's free agent, trade deadline, or using our draft like 7th round pick, wide receiver, healthy scratch. Yeah, I feel you there. I think this upcoming offseason, it's going to be the first time we see Chris Ballard use a little bit of that money on one player. Because, he goes after the guys that are going to contribute to the team, that are going to be valuable for little money. I think he's going to pay good money to a free agent coming up in the offseason. And if you want to include like Carson Wentz last year as that move, because they paid him a good amount of money, that was a pretty big move. DeForest Buckner was a pretty big move too. So, yeah, there's those. But I think they're going to add either to that defensive line, or if there's a good corner out there, I think they're going to do it this year. Because if you can get that offense situated, or even a receiver, if you get that offense fixed and whatnot, and you can get, the defense, you get the pieces they need on the defense, they have the core to go on a run. It's not like they have a bad team. I mean, you got Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner, Carson Wentz. Yeah, he had a bad day, but you still got Carson Wentz. You have Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Julian Blackman. You got guys. Like, they're going to go on a run. They just need to add a couple more pieces, and I think that's what's going to happen this offseason. Alex says the Rams got really good value. Indeed. Matt says that he wishes that he couldn't play until next week. Why? Why, man? Why don't you want Von Miller to play against the Titans? Come on, man. He's worried that the Rams defense versus the Titans until AP gets settled. It's going to take a year for him to get settled. JDW says, Matt, my dude, 500 is huge, man. So happy to see you hit that. Thank you so much, man. Hey, you're going to hit that too. You crossed 400 recently, which is awesome. Just keep grinding. You definitely need to grind for sure. And then Maddie says that they are looking for the now and the Broncos save the money. Yeah, they definitely did. And then Alex says the Rams are doing the Dodgers strategy. Definitely.
Both LA teams.
Yeah, both. Yep, true. And
LA has a lot of money, basically.
Yes, they have a ton of money. LA and New York. It's just New York doesn't use it right. JDW says that we are not in a rebuild. I do agree with that. I just think they need to add a couple pieces. Says, I saw the Colts called the Dolphins on Parker. I would love if we would get Parker. Give them Marlon Mack and give us Devontae Parker. I will take that in a heartbeat. I love, Marlon Mack, but I want to do what is best for him, and I want him to be happy. He wants out so he can, play more. I totally understand that. He's been good to us. trade him to Miami or trade him to a good team or something. I don't know, but I would love Devontae Parker on this team. And then Brandon says, I wish we would have gotten Ertz. I agree in the chemistry sense because of him and Wentz, but I also don't think we need a tight end. We got, Jack Doyle, who's pretty much Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is better, but we got Jack Doyle. We got Mo Alley Cox. Like, Mo is going to be the future as far as tight ends. And if we can get Kylan Granson, more playing time and get him used to everything in the NFL, I think he's going to be good too. So maybe we can bring him in at some point. Maybe next year we can work something out with Arizona, or I don't know, maybe Arizona lets him go. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we need Ertz. I don't think we need him at all. I wouldn't be against it. And then JDW says, I don't think Chris Ballard's a huge Carson Wentz guy. I said it. I said what I said. I think I agree with you. I agree with you on that for sure. And then JDW says 410, baby, 90 away. Yes, sir. I love the community we have. It's freaking amazing. Absolutely. And then Parker can't stay healthy. That's true. But he's good, man. I like him. I like him a lot. And then Robert Reynolds says Colts never do anything. I don't get it. I think they're waiting to see what they have after Quentin Nelson's contract. I think once we get Nelson paid this off season, I think that's when we're gonna see him spend more money and make bigger moves. And he's made big moves in the past. So I do think that's something that's gonna happen next year. Won't be surprised. And then JDW says I would have traded Mack for Marcus May. The Jets were open to trading him. Marcus May is an amazing safety. I agree. I agree with that. And then this coaching staff low key blows. Some of them I agree with. I know Frank Reich's getting a lot of hate. I still like Frank Reich, and I'll always say this: let Frank Reich go, and you'll see, how good he's been for us. Because I don't see a lot of guys out there better than Frank Reich as far as options. Eberflus needs to form a game plan not just around one player, but two players. That's my main issue with him. But he's been good in a lot of games too. Can he get Pascal more receptions so I can take him off my bench? I would love it. I absolutely would love it. It's just Michael Pittman has that thing. Like Carson Wentz really loves Michael Pittman right now. And, just like with Pascal, the first few games of the year, Pascal was getting touches. Now it's Pittman getting the touches. So, he'll get some, I'm sure, eventually. How good is he if he can't be on the field? I'm not trying to be negative, but we don't need any more injury-prone players. But has Parker been hurt the last 2 years, though? Like, I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen it. And if he's been hurt, I don't think he's been out for the season. It's been like a game or two at the most. But we'll see. And then Brandon Smith, before we move on to Jameis Winston, unless some other trades happen recently, which I'll look in a sec. He says, will Paris Campbell ever see another snap in a Colts uniform? I think he has one more year. I think next year is going to be his prove it year in a sense of, can you stay healthy? If he can't stay healthy next year, I think he's done. I think there's a chance he plays next year or this year. I think there's a small chance. It's very unlikely. I think they said there's a good chance he's out for the year, but he might play one more game. But I do think next year will be that make it or break it year for him. Some would say this year was that, but I think this is going to be the year. Or next year is going to be the year. And then JDW real quick says, I don't know, man, 11 plus point blown leads in the last 10 games, including the Pittsburgh game from last year. Yeah, it's true. And I agree with you. We need to beat playoff teams. And when we get to the Buffalo Bills in a couple weeks, when we do that prediction, I will definitely be talking about that. But okay, so I am currently looking right now to see if there are any trades. Nothing happened. So it looks like,
right?
And it has passed the deadline. But there is one I'll bring up real quick. This is from Kimberly A. Martin. She says that I'm told there were discussions Odell Beckham Jr. to the Saints, but both sides couldn't agree on a workable deal given how much OBJ is owed the rest of the year. Plus, there's still optimism in the Browns building that OBJ can be a big part of their second half playoff push. So we can talk about that real quick. So OBJ potentially was going to the Saints. If that trade would have happened, what would have been your thoughts?
It's um well, I think me I don't think it will with the receiving core. I don't know maybe who's your sort of QB at the moment with Jameis is out.
Mhm.
If your best options are maybe Trevor Siemian or Taysom Hill, not that
Ian
I
Book.
don't think or that, but I don't feel like it's still not gonna work, and maybe the Saints might not be a good idea if it
Yeah.
were sort of the best option.
Yeah, I definitely see that. I think because is Michael Thomas out for the year, or is he coming back towards the end of the year?
I think he is coming back though, but
Okay,
even if he's coming back, we don't know who's gonna be taking our QB with Jameis is out for the year, so that would be
true.
sort of interesting.
I see. I think he could have worked on the Saints for sure. I don't know how big of an impact he would have on that offense because Kamara is going to be the one running that offense with Winston out, which we'll be talking about later. Um, but I think OBJ could have been a good piece for the offense. I mean, him and Michael Thomas together, that'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. But I thought about this. I thought the same thing with Jarvis Landry and him, and it hasn't worked out the way we thought it was going to. Um, I think it would have been interesting. I honestly think because I do believe that Ian Book is the future of the Saints. I think Jameis is just a for now type piece, and who knows, maybe that's over. Maybe they're gonna just let him walk, especially with the severity of the injury. Maybe let's be like, hey, we're gonna let you go. It wasn't working the way we wanted it to work. We wish you luck. We're not gonna pay you the money you want to be paid. I don't think Trevor Siemian is the guy. Um, he's not gonna be there at all. I think Ian Book is the quarterback for next year and the future, and they like him a lot. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. So I think him and OBJ could be fun. I think he would like OBJ a lot, and I think Michael Thomas would be a good fit for him too. So pretty interesting that almost happened, but it's true. OBJ's contract is not the best, especially if you want to trade him. So they're gonna have to keep him, maybe restructure his deal so they can get him out and we'll go from there. And I do agree with JDW. I don't think Taysom Hill's the guy. We saw Taysom Hill we saw him on the Saints a few years ago or last year starting, and there was a game where he looked good, but he's not the guy. So, yeah, there. I don't think. I don't know. I think OBJ could have worked. It would have been interesting, but again, thought the same thing when he was traded to the Browns that he was going to work in Cleveland, and that doesn't seem to be the case right now because Baker plays better without him. I'll go to some of the comments real quick. Then we're going to move on to Jameis Winston actually and talk about his injury. Robert Reynolds said Campbell's out till week 15. That's what I thought because he did tweet out some where he was saying, "Hey, see you on Christmas." But I also thought I heard that they were considering sitting him for the year not too long ago. JDW says, and rely on pass interference penalties. It's not a formula for long-term success. I agree with that, but if teams are struggling in that aspect, you got to pick on it. So I don't like he's not relying on that every single week. It was just this past week and then the 49ers game because they were grabby, and eventually something was going to get called. JDW says we need to beat Buffalo and the Bucks. Absolutely. If we're going to make the playoffs, we definitely need to do that. Honestly, not many trades. Definitely. Chalu2222 says Frank's time is up. Time for a new face. We got to
But
give
you
him one
sign,
more year.
yeah, and you sign a new extension along with it. That's the thing.
True. And yeah, because he's here till 2026. But I mean, of course, Jim Irsay could be like, hey, we got to let you go. But I think you got to give him another year, you know,
Give him at
and
least
that,
chance, or give it a chance at least. Let's just say your season didn't do well, and you might have an opportunity to get a quarterback. If you still had that selection for Philadelphia, you still might get
yeah,
QB right here on the board. At least get his own guy. At least.
definitely. And then the Jets game must be piece cake. I'm telling you, I wasn't happy this past Sunday when we lost to the Titans. If we lose to Mr. White himself from Breaking Bad, Mike White and the Jets, I will lose it. I will go off.
I
That'll be a
I thought
fun
you,
video for people to watch, but not for me to make.
I was gonna say you could have make like a Mr. Schneebly right here, Mike White.
Mike White. Hey, I call him Mr. White. Jesse Pinkman. But do they have a Jesse Pinkman on that team? I don't know. Maybe it's Zach Wilson.
That's
Browns don't
Jesse.
need OBJ. It might be. I don't know. You know, but Browns don't need OBJ. Jarvis is the heart and soul of that team. Absolutely. Maddie says OBJ would have fit into the system he had. Might not be a first option, but third down receiver. It could be. Definitely could be. I don't know if he'd like that because I think he wants to start pretty much the entire game. But that could be. And then Truett Trussler, he says, I'm late to the party, Matt. Going to start beginning on my TV. Hashtag ITH. Yes, sir. Hey, thank you for stopping by. Very happy that everybody here is stopping by. And I do want to bring this comment up. It's a very important comment that Maddie had earlier. There it is. If you haven't yet, guys, hit that like button. If you're new, click that subscribe button. It would mean a lot. We're trying to get this out to more NFL fans. So be sure to click that like and subscribe button. But yeah, now we're going to go on to the next story we have. But before I do that, I just want to bring up all the trades that happened. Just quick summary real quick. It wasn't just today and yesterday, but just kind of in this span of the past few weeks. So the trades were Dan Brown to the Chiefs, Laurent Duvernay Tardif to the Jets, Charles Omenihu, however you say his last name, to the 49ers, Melvin Ingram to the Chiefs, Von Miller to the Rams, Mark Ingram to the Saints, Joe Flacco to the Jets, Kenny Young to the Broncos, Zach Ertz to the Cardinals, Stephon Gilmore to the Panthers, and CJ Henderson to the Panthers. So there we have it. Not many trades, as JDW says, but you know, there, some trades for you right there. And then real quick, he says, if we don't make the playoffs, do we get the first round pick back? No. Carson Wentz would have to play less than 75% of the snaps if we don't make the playoffs for him to be or for us to get the first round pick. And then Brandon Stuller says Frank's contract just got extended before the season to 2026. And he says, I don't think he has a losing record with the Colts. I could be wrong. They're just not going to let him go over a few games that should have been won. I agree with that for sure. And then Quentin Nelson and Quentin Williams is going to be a fun, underrated matchup. Definitely. Quentin Nelson didn't practice today, though, so that does worry me. Think he'll play, but still, something to keep in mind. But now let's move on to Jameis Winston. This past Sunday in the Bucs game, Jameis Winston ended up getting hurt. An unfortunate injury. He tore his ACL, knocked him out for the rest of the year. We got Trevor Siemian for the remainder of that game. And now it seems like he's going to be the guy moving forward for at least the next couple games. Maybe they go Ian Book towards the end of the year, because they like him a lot. He's a rookie. Maybe they want to give him some playing experience. Who knows? I guess it will depend how the season goes. But yeah, I just want to get your thoughts when you heard that Jameis Winston was out for the year. Just what was going through your head?
Oh, I was kind of sad that he got injured though. Like I thought he actually did pretty well with the Saints when he got the start along with it, and surprisingly very limited on his mistakes though. At least Payton was have a good job at least hampering down half his sort of tendencies along with it. Still had the Jameis idea, but at least it's less subdued along with it, and basically got them more controlled along with it. So it's actually kind of sad that he got injured all here, but
Yeah.
And also, have you seen like the post game video? He's on crutches, dancing with his teammates. So
Yeah.
in a pretty much the Jameis way possible.
Yeah, I saw that. It was like I saw a TikTok yesterday that came up and it said Sean Payton's sitting there and he's worried that Jameis Winston's gonna be done for the year, and then it shows real quick Jameis Winston dancing. Here it is. I'll show it real quick. Says Jameis might be out for the year with an injury. Sad. And then just Jameis. Oh gosh, and I'm probably gonna get like oh hey, this is blocked. Type of notification from YouTube for playing that. But whatever, it's a funny video. Yeah, no, I saw that and I don't think he cares. He's like, look, I might have tore my ACL. I don't care. I'm gonna celebrate with the boys. We're gonna have fun. We beat Tampa Bay. Big win for us. Trevor Siemian got the job done. Let's celebrate with crutches. Um, but yeah. It sucks to kind of get back on track. It sucks to see Derrick Henry. We're talking about him next. It sucks to see Jameis Winston be out for the year because, you know, he hasn't been great for the Saints this year. Like he hasn't been like this, major just, you know, boost for the team. You know what I mean? Like he hasn't been like Drew Brees, the past, I don't know, 5-10 years. Like he's been good. He's been a good fit for them, but he's not somebody I think that's gonna be worth the money that he's gonna want. But still, he's been good. But it sucks to see him be out for the year, with that torn ACL because, you know, I like him a lot. You know what I mean? I think he's a good fit. He seems like a good guy. Yeah, he makes some mistakes still, but it just sucks. It sucks whenever you see somebody get a torn ACL. I don't know what the Saints are going to do. I think they're going to start with Trevor Siemian, but I think they'll eventually go to Ian Book. I don't see them going to Taysom Hill at all. I think Taysom Hill is done. He'll just be used as a gadget, and then he won't resign. He'll leave, and it will be what it will be. But yeah, man, I do hope nothing but the best for Jameis Winston. I hope he does have a good recovery and he comes back as good as he's been. So, or even better. But we'll go to some of the comments real quick. And we're talking about this guy next. Maddie says Derrick Henry's already rehabbing his foot 2 hours after the surgery and is expected to be back in 6 weeks. He's trying for 4 weeks. I mean, if you want to try 4 weeks, go for it.
Yeah, my
I don't know
advice.
if that's smart.
Yeah, my advice. I don't think you should kind of rush it though. That you
Mhm.
might re-aggravate and might get it worse along with it if you try to do it. And
Yeah.
don't
It's like,
re-aggravate.
unless that team goes on like a collapse where they lose the next 4 or 5 games, I I wouldn't play them. Sit them. They pretty much got the division. Like I said, unless they lose the next few games and the Colts go on a big run, they got the division. It's theirs. So let Derrick Henry sit. Honestly, unless the division's at risk, sit him for the year. Wait
Yeah,
till playoffs.
wait
Bring him
till the
back in.
playoffs. It gets fully healthy at least. That's my advice. Um,
Yeah,
Wait for the playoffs until he fully healthy. He gets back along with it. Try
yeah,
and maybe focus on more offense on the passing game. You still have AJ Brown and Julio Jones along with it. Try to focus on the other side of it along with it. So try at least along with it.
definitely. And I'll go to some of the comments real quick, then we'll move
Yeah.
on to Derrick Henry. Eric Gonzalez says Wentz needs to stay focused all game without forcing attempts. Yeah, I mean there was that ugly second interception in the last game. He had Jonathan Taylor wide open, and honestly, who knows what would happen? Jonathan Taylor might have broke for 10 yards. He might have broke for 50 yards and won the game. Um, yeah, I don't know. It sucks. Hopefully he learns from that, because he made some stupid mistakes. And it's funny, because my dad, when before the trade happened, was big on Carson Wentz. And I'll be honest, I wasn't too big at first because of last year, but then I was like, oh, he's going to Frank Reich, he's going to a much better team. I think it could work. And now it's completely flipped where I'm big on Carson Wentz, even after this game. And my dad's like, I'm done. I don't like Carson Wentz. He's not good. And it's like, no, he's good. He just had one bad game. He makes stupid decisions, but a lot of quarterbacks make stupid decisions. Even some of the best ever do it. So I don't know. We'll see. And then JDW says, oh, dude, Matt, the company that made the world's hottest chip, reached back out to me about an opportunity. Pretty pumped. Maybe putting myself through it was worth it. I mean, I'm happy for you. I mean, they could offer me $10 million, and I would not eat that chip at all. I mean, hey, I anybody that does that, mad respect. I have mad respect for you for doing that. I can't do it. But hey, if you got that opportunity, man, go for it, man. That'd be awesome. And then Chilu2222 says, question, since you are in love with Frank, what about the defensive coordinator? His time is up with that zone pass rush. Now that I can get behind with. There are things he does that are awesome. He was amazing against the Ravens on the run. he was amazing against the Titans when it came to Derrick Henry this game. Yeah, Derrick Henry got hurt, but even before he got hurt, he was doing a really good job shutting him down. But, I agree. There are situations where his defense doesn't work out, and that's in the passing game. We saw that happen with Lamar Jackson, who just went off in the passing game. And we saw that with the Titans, where, AJ Brown was doing his thing. And AJ Brown's great, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I'm if they decide to part ways with Eberflus, I will not be upset. I will be like, I like Eberflus, but yeah, it's you got to start asking questions, and I think he's somebody you got to ask questions about. Um, but yeah, and then also as Colts fans, take your time, Henry. Yeah, take your time. Take a year. Derrick Henry, wait till 23 to come back. Wait till 2023. Just make sure that toe is 100% healthy, And then Matty says he doesn't want to see him until the postseason, and he says Titans are number one in the AFC for now. That's the thing with AFC. AFC is so confusing. It's weird. You got the Bengals, who goes out there, and they beat the Ravens, they dominate, they look great, and then they lose to the Jets. It's like I don't even know. I have no clue. It's weird. And then Maddie about the world's hottest chip says, for the podcast, I'll do it. I mean, if you want to come on the podcast and eat the world's hottest chip, we might do that for sure. But now we're gonna move on to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry in the previous game against the Colts injured his toe, ended up getting surgery on it, and the expected time for him to return is 6 to 10 weeks. 6 being the earliest and 8 being the most likely. But he is getting rehab right now. Maddie says they're thinking 6 weeks could be the possibility, or it could be the possible time that he returns. So I guess, again, Jonathan, when you saw this thing happen, just what was your thoughts on this whole thing? Do you think it's going to affect the Titans too much, or do you think they'll be okay?
It's really hard. It's a major blow to the team if one of your best offenses is not going to be on the field majority of the season,
Mm.
and probably not going to be affected as a team though, because
Mm.
even when they don't have Henry at the time, they need to do well, mainly on the passing game, to basically help the team to stay back and to keep the division atop. Because
Mm.
currently, right now, I look at it as a playoff picture currently right now, they're in the
Yeah.
first seed. They're in the number one seed. They're
Yeah.
basically taking a huge lead. So basically, I think they need to do is like basically get something back to basics, keep it like basically on the smart on the passing game, and basically Bravo needs to do that. Think they may need maybe just a little work on some of their defense along with it,
Mm.
so they don't have to basically don't wait and have the offense to basically help them bail them out half the time though. So
Right.
that's my concern with no Henry though. I
Mm.
know they can sign Adrian Peterson along with it, but even you have a word though. Is he sort of going to be major help along with it? Even
Yeah.
they're playing the Rams this week, and they just got Von Miller, so it's going to be more interesting how they get the sort of use maybe their passing game if you avoid the pass rush.
Right. And it's like it just blows my mind that they're first in AFC. And it just makes me go, if the Colts would have won the games they should have won, which was the Rams game, the Ravens game, and then yesterday's game, they would be first in AFC. That's just that's how close they are. They're so close. They they literally they haven't been blown out. That's the funny thing too. So, and they're playing some good teams. And it's just they can't, for whatever reason, get it figured out. But for the Titans, it does stink because obviously Derrick Henry is a big part of that offense, like you said. And he's kind of the type of player that teams will focus on mostly first, and then they'll look at Ryan Tannehill and AJ Brown second. Now they're going to be focusing on Ryan Tannehill and AJ Brown first before anybody else. Yeah, they got AP, as Brandon Stothers says in the comments. They did get AP. I don't think AP is going to be just this, like, he's not going to be the solution. You know what I mean? But I I do like Tannehill. I think he's solid. It helps to have Derrick Henry there, like we've always said, but Now we're going to see what kind of quarterback Derrick Henry. We're going to see what kind of quarterback Ryan Tannehill is. And this is a schedule they got for the next 6 weeks. So over the next 6 weeks, they play the Rams, the Saints, the Texans, the Patriots, the Jaguars, the Steelers. And this over the next 6 weeks. I think they could lose potentially 3 of these games, maybe 4. So, they have to win some of these games without Derrick Henry to make me go, okay, this is a team that over the next 10 years can be the face of the AFC South. Kind of like how the Colts were in the Manning days, where they were the face of the AFC South. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to see what Ryan Tannehill can do on this thing. But, look, I know not having Derrick Henry out there helps the Colts. I know that. But I do hope that he has, a nice recovery. He bounces back. He's, this doesn't end his career or begins that downhill fall for Derrick Henry like a lot of running backs go through. And, that could be the case too. Running back is a very difficult position to play in the NFL. It's a position that you don't last as long as, say, quarterbacks or receivers. You'll eventually take so many hits or your just ability goes downhill. And maybe this is the beginning of that, where Derrick Henry will start getting hurt. I don't think it's going to be because it's a toe injury or a foot injury. I don't think it's going to be the end. But we'll see. We'll definitely see. And then we got David Van Pelt. He says Julio's about to take over. Watch that could happen. Julio's a very good receiver. But we'll see. And then he also said beforehand that now it's going to be Tannehill and Julio to carry. And actually before that, because I missed this too, he says that he doesn't think that we're going to win with Carson Wentz. Sorry. I think we can, for sure. I definitely think we can. Hello, sir. And then David Van Pelt says, we pretty much beat the Colts with no Derrick Henry. He wasn't even 50% on Sunday, playing on a broken foot. I mean, look. We played terrible that game. You guys played good. You guys did what you needed to do. I mean, you guys had the better game plan. You guys, played better. You took advantage of our secondary. And that's what you got to do. But we'll see. And then he said AP can get us 3.8 yards carry. He might. We'll see. We shall see. And then Maddie says he had less than 90 yards 2 of their last 3 games. I forgot. The previous game he did have 87 yards or whatever. But that was because they were thrown all over Kansas City because Kansas City has a horrible defense. But he says we'll be okay. Maddie agrees with him. I think you guys are going to win the division. I still think you guys will. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what Ryan Tannehill is. Like, I'm not saying Ryan Tannehill's bad. I think Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback. I feel like out of anybody who's not been a Tennessee Titans fan, I feel like I'm one of the only people that goes out there and says Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback.
Yeah.
Like Ryan Tannehill can win games. It's just, can he be the guy for your team for the next 10 years? That's going to be the question. I think he's good. I just don't know if he's that franchise quarterback that can get you to a Super Bowl. But we'll find out. This will be a good test to see what you guys look like without Derrick Henry. But I do hope Derrick Henry comes back healthy and he looks, as good as he has in the past. Because I don't want to see a guy have his career with how good he is. I don't want to see it end.
Yeah.
Or begin to end with this injury.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that, before he got hurt, he's still the league's winning rusher. Yep. And even half the stats, even 1 point, that like might get 200 again.
Yeah. So
he's that good of a player.
He was on track for 2,000 yards. So it sucks. Wise thing would be just let him rest until playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll see. Over these next 6 weeks, we'll see. Like the Rams game is going to be a great, just a great test for Ryan Tannehill. Like that's an opportunity for Ryan Tannehill to go out there and be like, hey guys, I'm going to prove you wrong for the ones that said we're not good without Derrick Henry. I'm going to prove that I can be a franchise quarterback for this team and do good things. and they got AJ Brown and Julio Jones. They're still fine,
They're still
but this
good
will
on.
be a good test.
Yeah.
But I do real quick want to talk before we get into Henry Ruggs. I do want to talk about Tyquan Lewis. He got hurt in the game this past Sunday against the Titans. And it's unfortunate because it was on that pick. He intercepts it from Ryan Tannehill. He's running with the ball, and then he gets hurt, falls to the ground, fumble, Titans recover. They're able to score in that drive. But ended up being it ended up being a knee injury, which is knocking him out for the year, and it sucks because Tyquan Lewis was starting to look really good. He was starting to do good things for us. He's young, and I believe it was a contract year for him too. Obviously, not having Tyquan Lewis there on our defensive line, it's gonna suck. I love Tyquan. He's a good guy. When you saw this injury, and you might just be finding out about it now, I don't know. But what were your thoughts just seeing, him get hurt and being out for the season?
Um, it sucks for you guys, and I just want to say I apologize for that. And it, you kind of lose, like you said, you can lose your help you blow in your secondary on your defense. So I think it probably might get a little bit help along with it. So
Yeah,
that's what I can say about that.
definitely. And I hope, because he's had some injury problems in the past too. I believe he's played 24 or 26 games so far his entire career. So he's had some injuries in the past, and I really hope this is not a injury that ends up getting him cut from the team once the year ends, or not being re-signed once the year ends. I really hope that he can come back next year and do good things. But yeah, I like Lewis. He was doing good things for us, and now he's unfortunately hurt. So that means Kamoka Toure, like JDW brought up in comments, Kamoka Toure time. He thought Taekwon was taking over too. I agree with that. Yeah, man, Kamoka Toure is going to have to step up now. This will be a big opportunity for him. We got Dio Dengbo. We drafted him. Maybe he can step in on the edge, and he can do good things. This past Sunday was his first game. Didn't play a whole lot that I noticed, which was to be expected. But they love Dio, so hopefully Dio can get out there and do some good things. But it's an opportunity for a lot of the guys that are on the edge that might not have the opportunity to go out there and dominate. And Muhammad, he's got to go out there and do his thing. So it sucks to see Taekwon be out. I do hope that he comes back better than ever. And now we're going to move on to kind of the story that broke today. Pretty big story. And then we'll get into our week 9 predictions. We found out today that Henry Ruggs was involved in a car accident. He was intoxicated, I believe. I believe he, drank before driving, which he never should do. But he was definitely not where you should be if you're going to drive, as far as like just, with the alcohol and whatnot. But I believe he drank, decided to go out, and he was in a car accident that resulted in the death of one person. And he is now, I believe, currently in jail. He might have been bailed out. I haven't seen anything about it being bailed out, but he showed signs of impairment when the police got there, and they charged him with a DUI, which means that I believe if he goes to prison, it's a 2 to 20 year sentence. 2 years being the earliest, 20 being the absolute latest that you would be in jail. Henry Ruggs was hurt. It's not life threatening. But I guess charges have not been filed yet. But the Clark County District Attorney Steve Wolfson said he was aware of the crash and would await results of the police investigation. So, yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere with Henry Ruggs being involved in this car accident. I guess, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Wow, this is a sort of big surprise along with it right here. And I, if you know sort of Las Vegas law, that was sort
Mm,
of based on DUI along with it. And they were very trickled with that along with it.
mm,
And it's horrible what happened to the victim. According to that, he left a woman dead along with it during the accident. So, which is
mm,
heartbreaking. And
yeah,
basically, Ruggs was not alone. He has sort of like a female passenger along with him. Both get slightly injured along with it. It's no life threatening along with it, but this is sort of the thing the Raiders currently they should not do right here. They just got out their bye week, and basically this is sort of the thing they didn't want to do along with it, considering the other stuff going around the last few weeks, and
yeah,
it just kind of kind of sad hear about that, and it was just very much to kind of sort of do like you do not sort of want to do that in early in the morning in Las Vegas at 3 a.m. along with it. So it's just pretty much it's and the pictures along with that, it was just a break along with it. It got sort of worse along with it. So that's all I can say about that for now personally. So it's kind of a hard thing to describe it right now.
yeah, definitely. And Brandon is correct. If he does any time, it won't be long because he does have a lot of money, which is true. Um, yeah, I don't have sympathy for people who drive under the influence and get into an accident that results in another person either seriously getting injured or passing away. It's something that is common knowledge that if you're going to drive, you should not be driving under the influence. Um, you know, I I just want to send my thoughts and prayers to the family of the person who ended up passing away due to this car accident. And I think either way, that Henry Ruggs was done in the NFL. I do not see a scenario where Derek or I keep saying Derek. I do not see a situation where Henry Ruggs comes back at all from the NFL. I think they're going to let him go because if you were in an accident and it was just you, that's one thing. You'll get in trouble, you'll go through that stuff, but you'll be back on your team. But when you're in an accident that involves somebody passing away, yeah, the NFL's not bringing you back. Like if John Gruden's not going to get another job for the emails he sent, you're not going to get a job in the NFL for literally killing somebody. And I'm not saying what John Gruden did wasn't wrong because it was wrong. I'm just saying he's not going to get a head coaching job in the NFL. Maybe in the future he'll work in some capacity, but at this moment he's not going to get a job anytime soon. Yeah, if he's not getting a job, somebody who ends up getting an accident results in somebody passing away, they're not getting back in the NFL. It's over. It's over. Henry Ruggs made a stupid mistake. That ended up costing him the life of another person and his dream career. So, hopefully he has money put back to the side, because he's not going to be in the NFL anymore. So that's our thoughts on that. I do want to move on to the Week 9 predictions, so for the NFL, and we'll start with the Thursday night game. For this, I honestly think this is the best game of the week, if I'm going to be honest, and that is the New York Jets. They're traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. You got Mike White coming off of a big game against the Bengals, who were coming off of a big, and they were able to pull it. They were able to get it done. So I'll go to you first, Jonathan. How do you see this go and why?
Uh, I'm. It's going to be a low scoring game. I'll be more honest with you guys, and you probably might. Uh, and I think you might get a win victory along with it, but it's not going to be that much.
My
I
I'm
know,
kidding.
I know. I try to be generous. I try to be
I'm,
generous with you. And don't let your fans in the comment section think I'm trying to be
No, you're good.
generous about that. I just want to make it clear. Try to be niceful about this.
You're good. I will say, real quick, just because I want to have fun. I think this is the first time you've picked the Colts to win a game this year when you've been on the show. I think every
Really?
time you've been on the show, it was the first Titans game. I think you were on that one. You're on the Rams game, the Seahawks game, and you took the other teams, and hey, you were right on those.
Yeah.
And then hey, you took the Colts over the Jets. But no. So look, it's a nice story. Mike White going out there, balling, having a great game. It's really nice. Jets beating the Bengals. Nice. For some reason, they can beat the Bengals and they can beat the Titans. I don't understand why they're able to do these things, but then lose to teams like the Falcons and other teams that might not be great. But he's not getting the win today. The Colts are going to get the win. They will win this game rather easily. And I do want to pull up Mike White's stats. Why did it say Wilson? I'm combining Zach Wilson and Mike White. That's why I went and pull up the stats. Like, what's going on? Mike White. There we go. So let's talk about Mike White's games, shall we? So in his career, which I believe this is the only time he's played. Yes, these are the only 2 games Mike White has played. He played against the Patriots on October 24th. Had a 62% completion percentage, which isn't bad at all. 202 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes in against the Bengals, has 405 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So, it's weird. Mike White's going to go back to that Patriots game where he's going to throw 1 touchdown at most and 2 picks. Look, Mike White, that was a nice story. Mr. White from Breaking Bad getting the win. That's pretty nice. Everybody's freaking out saying he's the GOAT. It's like, oh, he's the best. They're having fun. They're going to get beat bad. The Colts are angry after that game. They're upset. They're hearing everybody on the outside saying they're not good, saying Carson Wentz is terrible, saying that Frank Reich should be fired. They're hearing this noise. This is going to be a statement win. And it's weird to say statement win against the Jets, but this is where they go, look, we're going to beat the Jets like we beat the Texans. Give me a score of, I'll go 38. I'll go 38-7. I'll give Mike White 1 touchdown in this game, but 38-7 Colts. Final score. Jonathan Taylor is going to have a big game. Carson Wentz is going to have a bounce back game. And, it just makes sense because they can do these things against not good teams. So they will get the win, and they will win handedly. Sorry to everybody. I'll be watching Thursday night. It's just not going to be a good game. Now we're going to move on to the next game, and it is the Atlanta Falcons going to New Orleans to take on the Saints. First game for the Saints without Jameis Winston. We're pretty sure it's going to be Simeon starting at quarterback. You never know. Maybe Ian Book could start. We'll see once we get closer to the game. What are your thoughts on this game? Who do you have and why?
Well, I think it's gonna be more interesting. That being said, you don't have someone on QB with Saints though. We have seen in the past, even without Drew Brees or even their great starters, Sean Payton somehow to maybe cook up a way and you might get a victory or at least keep it competitive, like along with it. It's not just with Drew Brees' final year, but even before that with 2019, they had this like Teddy Bridgewater. So basically, you can tell maybe Payne has maybe something a little bit important in that playbook along with it. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game regardless, but I think somehow he might pull a rabbit out of his hat and might somehow beat the Falcons.
Oh, this is a tricky game to predict because I like what the Falcons are doing lately. They're playing better football. The offense is looking good. You have Kyle Pitts who's going to go in there. I think he's going to have a big second half this year. I think he's going to become what we thought he was going to be. And he kind of looked like that in the London game, if I'm not mistaken, against the Jets. I believe that was the game where he really looked good and had a good game. The Saints, even though they have Trevor Siemian, and who knows, I don't know who the quarterback is going to be starting. We can say it's going to be Trevor Siemian, but hey, we'll find out. The offense for the Saints doesn't make me think, oh, they're going to be amazing. I think they're going to really rely on Alvin Kamara. But their defense is really good too. So I'm going to go Saints. I think it's going to be a close game. Give me like 17-14 Saints. I think Simeon will be good enough for them to get the win. And if they go with Ian Book, I think they still win the game just because the Falcons defense, I don't think is all that great. They're playing better. I just don't think they're all that great. But I think Alvin Kamara is going to have a huge game. So give me the Saints. Now we're going to move on to the next game. We got the Denver Broncos going to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. I'll start this one off. Give me the Cowboys. I hate to say it, but I got to go Cowboys in this game. Denver, I think, is going to begin to go on a downhill fall, and they're not going to look good at all for the rest of the year. I thought Teddy Bridgewater would have been the guy. I don't think he's the guy. I think Denver's got to go draft a quarterback. And they should be able to get a quarterback without trading up because I think a lot of them are going to be available pretty late in the first round. So maybe they can get a guy like Desmond Ridder, maybe that kid from LSU. I don't know, maybe Matt Corral falls and they go for him. So they got to go quarterback, I feel. So give me Dallas. I just think Dallas's offense is too much for the Denver defense, and I don't think Denver's offense is going to be able to do anything even against a not so great Dallas defense. What about you? Who do you see winning this one and why?
So much that I'm a fan of the division rival. I hate to admit this, but I'm getting the Cowboys to beat the Broncos, though. Basically, even they show last week, even without that Prescott, they somehow might pull up a victory along with it. And even their defense, though, I actually did way better than probably people you're actually giving the credit for, though. Like, they improved a lot in some of the areas. Even I was surprised about that because their secondary did a very good job, which Teron Diggs basically step up and basically did improve on their linebackers. So I think I'll get Dallas easily going to beat the Broncos. Even I hate to say that personally, but I had to go with Dallas.
And like I don't think Dallas's defense is terrible or anything like that. I just don't think they're great. I think it's a solid defense, but I think it's a defense that if you have a good offense, you can go in there and you can put points on. Their defense doesn't like scare me like the Rams defense would. But no, like you're right, Diggs is a monster. Like I Diggs is great. I wish we could get him. I wish we could have gotten him. But oh well. But now we're going to move on to the next game. It is the New England Patriots traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. I'll go to you on this one. How do you see this game going?
What they play against?
The Patriots are playing against Carolina.
Okay. I will see maybe the Patriots might win this very handily, very easily. And I think the offense gets really, really better and better week after week along with it. So I think it's going to be very easily for the Patriots might take a victory out of the Panthers.
I'm going to go Panthers here. I think that's considered an upset because the Patriots have been looking better lately. But I just have a feeling I think the Panthers they're gonna start clicking. I think they have a defense that can at least contain the Patriots offense. I don't think Mac Jones is as good as what everybody's saying. I think he's played well. But he's not great, So I think this is a game where they're gonna struggle. This is a game where you wouldn't expect them to struggle because the Panthers have kind of fallen off ever since McCaffrey was out. So I'm going to go Panthers, but it will be a very close game. But now we're going to move on to the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Minnesota had a heartbreaking loss against Dallas this past Sunday, and now they're looking to rebound against the Ravens, I should say. Give me the Vikings. I think the Vikings pull an upset. I think their offense is good enough to beat a injured Ravens defense up. I think they're going to have their way. I think Kirk Cousins is going to play really good in this game. I think that Dalvin Cook is going to have a monster game in this one. So I'm going to go Vikings. I think a very, very high scoring game. I think Lamar's going to score a lot in this game. I think that Ravens offense is going to score a lot. Give me a score that is like 35-31. Very high scoring game. But I'm going to take the Vikings. Another upset. How about you? How do you see this one going?
I do agree it's going to be more high scoring along with it. I believe both offenses maybe they can go, but I was still going to pick the Ravens regardless because
Mhm.
it's going to be a little 5 minutes. I believe Lamar is might kind of bail this out throughout the ball along with it.
Mhm.
Meaning their high end talent just might kind of bail them out near at the end. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be a close game, but I think I'll pick the Ravens.
Okay. So now we'll move on to the next game. We got the Cleveland Brownies going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll go to you first. How do you see this game going?
I'm actually torn on this because
Yeah.
on the one hand, look on the Brown side of it, they came very
Mhm.
close to beating the Steelers. If Jarvis Landry could have caught these two balls along with it, I think they could have beaten the Steelers. And but also at the same time, there's not saying some areas around it, but there's something about it just like fairly a little bit off along with it, and they need to try and do the best they could to fix it. But you got the Bengals on the other hand, though. The Bengals are, I can tell, maybe upset, just lose to the Jets, and they were
Yeah.
supposed to way better than people were giving them credit for. So it's a tough game to choose because I it could go either way. It could make a break or the team's season with this game with the Browns and Bengals. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a close, but I'm picking slightly, but the Bengals slightly though.
Okay.
Just a hair.
Yeah, I agree with you. Very, very tough game to decide, but I gotta go Cincinnati. Um, they're not happy after losing to the Jets, and I wouldn't be either. Um,
Mhm.
I would lose it. So I think they're gonna come in. Joe Burrow is not happy. Joe Mixon's not happy. None of them are happy. And Cleveland, I think, is overrated. And I feel like a lot of people disagree with me on that, but I think they're overrated. The wins they've had this year have not impressed me at all. I don't think there's been a single win this team has had where I'm like, oh, wow, that's an impressive win by Cleveland there. Because let's look at the wins they've had, shall we? They barely lose to Kansas City. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's a great loss because Kansas City is a great team. And we know what Kansas City is right now. Not great, you know? And Patrick Mahomes is not having that good of a year, which is crazy. But they beat the Texans. They beat the Browns. They beat the
Oh,
Vikings. And the Vikings, I don't think, had Dalvin Cook in that game. Um, they beat the Broncos barely, which I guess we could say that's like the
to be fair,
impressive
they
win.
because limited half their starters are out, so
Yeah,
that makes
that's like the
sense.
one, I guess you could say. But when it comes to like, you know, their starters anyway, Baker Mayfield, all of them, I haven't seen an impressive win at all. So I think they're overrated. And, I know people disagree with me on that, but it's true. If Baker can have an impressive win this year, like if they would have beat the Cardinals, okay, I give it to you. That's a good win, you know. But all their wins with the starters are against teams that are struggling. So, I mean, the Chiefs almost lost on Monday to the Giants. I mean, there's something wrong in Kansas City. So it's just like I don't know. Give me the Bengals. I think they're going to come in angry and they're actually going to win this game by a decent amount. Um, but now we're going to move on to the next game. We got the Buffalo Bills traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. I think this is easy to
Yeah,
predict. Buffalo for sure.
yeah,
I think Jacksonville in the future could be one of the really good teams in the NFL if Trevor Lawrence can be that quarterback.
Or the Jags don't ruin him.
Yeah, or if Urban Meyer can keep his hands off of people, that would help too. But yeah, I think Buffalo wins this game rather easily. I don't see a scenario that Jacksonville wins this game. It's just not their year. So give me Buffalo. How about you? How do you see this one going?
I think Buffalo get them pretty much happily along with it. So I'll pick the Bills.
Okay. Now we're gonna move on to the next game. We got the this is a great game, fantastic game. The Houston Texans are going to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Just a magnificent game.
The greatest
How do
game.
you like? This is like the who's gonna win their second game type of game. But how do you see this one going?
It's gonna be low scoring. That's all I can tell you. And
Yeah.
it will probably might get the higher draft picks. Except maybe for Miami's case, they wish they could have the first round, but they traded one of it to Philadelphia. So they say they're gonna have Philadelphia's high draft picks by default. So
Yeah.
I'll get a ball again. I'll get to Miami regardless. So
There we go. I'll give my pick real quick. We actually got some news. Yeah. Give me Dolphins. I think Dolphins win this game. I think Miami has been in games that they've lost that, if a couple plays went different, they would have won. So I'm going to go Miami in this one. And I think they're going to win by a touchdown. But now again to the news. There's actually two things. First off, a trade actually happened. I thought the trade deadline was over. I guess it wasn't officially finalized. So maybe there's a little extra time that they're giving the team. But the Denver Broncos are sending rookie cornerback Kari Vincent Jr. to the Eagles for a 6th-round pick. And they just beat the deadline, I guess, to make this trade happen. And then the other news that happened was Desean Jackson announced that he is parting ways with the team. Now, I hope because he is no longer a Ram, we go after him, add him to the team. We need him for sure. Gives us that deep threat since Paris Campbell's not going to be in for a little while. So that's the news that broke actually when we were going through the predictions. So there you guys have it. Now we're going to move on to the next game, which is the Raiders traveling to New York to take on the Giants. How do you see this game going?
Despite the Raiders' misfortunes, I think they could win. Not much, but I think they can still get a win over the Giants.
Yeah. This is tough because I think Derek Carr is a really good quarterback. I like their team. I think the Giants get it done. I think the Giants are actually going to get it done. I think Daniel Jones is showing that he is not a bad quarterback. He's a quarterback that if you build around, he can be good enough to not lose you games. I don't think he's a guy that can win you a Super Bowl on his own. But I think he's a guy that if you build around him, he can do well enough to where you can win with him being on the team. I think the Giants get it done this week. I think they're going to surprise a lot of people and they're going to beat the Raiders. I just think there's a lot going on right now in Vegas with the Raiders. I think especially with this going on right now, yeah, I think that obviously Henry Ruggs not being on the team anymore is going to lose just that deep threat that they once had. And he hasn't been officially cut from the team, but he will be. Like, he's not going to play. If he doesn't get cut by Sunday, he'll be listed as inactive, and then he'll be cut the following week. So I think, yeah, I think the Giants are going to do it. I think they win games that you don't expect them to win. Like, they beat the Saints in overtime. Didn't expect that to happen at all. I think they're doing it this week.
All right.
Give them to me. But now we're going to move on to the Chargers going to Philly to take on the Eagles. I'll say this one real quick. I think the Chargers win this game. Look, congrats, Philly, on beating the Lions. but I think that's your last win of the year. I think you're going to finish 3-14. So give me the Chargers. What about you, Jonathan?
Yeah, I'll get this to the Chargers though. Even after their bye week, well, I mean, not that
Mhm.
bye week, but after the loss to the Patriots, they were pretty much they want to be angry about this. So I'll
Yeah.
get the Chargers to beat easily on the Eagles though.
All right. Now we're going to move on to the next game real quick, and that is going to be the Green Bay Packers traveling to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Um, Big game, obviously, for Kansas City. I know a lot of people are writing the Colts out from the playoffs, but if Kansas City loses this, they'll probably have the same record as the Colts. And honestly, they need to win big games, but I'm going Packers. I think Packers win, and I think this
Well,
this is a
this is it.
game that the Chiefs need to win. I mean, it's not going to get easy. So give me the Packers. How about you, Jonathan?
Yeah, Kansas KC needs to win this to say not only staying in the playoffs right here, but he's going to beat teams over 500. If they don't win it against Green Bay though, if they're going to be under 500 and potentially missing the playoffs, which is crazy to say that in the middle of the year.
Yeah,
It was supposed to dominate the league, and they didn't do it along with it. So I had to take Green Bay. It's going to take care of business.
yeah, definitely. Because Green Bay is battling for that number one seed too. Like they're definitely right now in the driver's seat for it. So they gotta continue to win because the team we're talking about next is right there, and that is the Arizona
Okay.
Cardinals. They're traveling to the
All right.
49ers. Um,
All right.
so
I didn't mean
I'll
to
go to
interrupt.
you real quick, because
Oh,
it does sound like you probably do
yeah.
have to go in a minute.
Yeah.
So real
Yep.
quick, who do you have in this one?
Which one?
It is the Cardinals and 49ers.
Cardinals. Get it out of the way. I
Mhm.
think they were basically we'll do it again. Basically, after kind of losing to the Packers right here, I think that we'll come back and rebound from that, and basically
Yeah,
we'll be very handily on the 49ers though.
definitely. I agree with you. I got the Cardinals as well. Continuing the streak of games the 49ers have lost at home. Um, I just don't think the 49ers are going to do anything. So give me the Cardinals in this game, and then we'll move on to the next game. If you do have to go, then you can go. We
I
got two
mean,
more games. So
actually, they'll be back in a second though.
oh, okay, cool. So we'll run through these final two games, and then we'll head off. That way you can go and do your thing.
Hmm.
But we got the Titans going to the Rams on Sunday night to take, or going to Los Angeles on Sunday night to take on the Rams. How do you see this game going?
Like I mentioned earlier, like this is going to be a test for the Titans. They can work, especially without Derrick Henry, and basically they can work on outside the ball. And
Mhm,
I think they just need to basically have a sort of a solid game plan to outsmart the Rams defense along with it and keep limiting their possessions if the Rams will score very quickly is
mhm.
their sort of their plan along with it. And I will get this slightly to the Rams regardless because if you don't have a sort of a solid game plan and you limit the Rams possessions, the Rams will
Mhm.
beat you in the air very quickly.
Yeah, I gotta go Rams in this one. I think they're gonna win pretty easily. It's like it's not gonna be a blowout, but they'll win easily, like by a touchdown. Um, I I don't think this is a good game for the Titans to play without Derrick Henry. I think they need Derrick Henry to take on teams like the Rams, and I don't know if I have faith that Ryan Tannehill can be the guy to take down the Rams. I mean, the Rams have beaten teams like the Bucks, so I got to go Rams in this one. And then the last game we have is the Chicago Bears traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers on Monday night. Could be the day for our I guess more comic booky guys. Could be the day we get that Spider-Man trailer. But who do you have in this one? Ram or Bears and Steelers?
Basically, I'm gonna use a comic book reference to reference maybe the Bears and Steelers game.
Mhm.
Basically feels maybe like Peter Parker in this scenario. Peter Parker get palmed a couple times by Thanos, aka by T.J. Watt and the rest of the Steelers defense. It's kind of unfortunate to say that, but
Yeah.
I will go to Pittsburgh to beat the Bears, but not that much. And let's be real, the defense basically carried the Steelers along with it.
Mhm.
The offense can't do much along with it. Even they're
Yeah.
so can't do very much on offense so much that they had to use Chris Boswell to have to prove a fake for a touchdown. Didn't work. Cost they injured their kicker. So that's
Right.
a little maybe kind of bite them in right here. But at the same time, I judging the Steelers the last couple of years, they will put some weird ways to bail out some weirdness along with it and somehow pull it off. So I will give Pittsburgh by beating the Bears very easily.
So if the Steelers are going to win this game, I think Ben Roethlisberger's going to have a really big game. Definitely possible because Jimmy G had over 400 yards, I think, on the Bears defense this past Sunday. So it's possible. I don't think it happens. I think the Bears are going to win it. I think their defense will carry this team to a win. And I think the Bears offense is going to find some success and they're going to get the job done. Close game, thrilling game, but give me the Bears in this one. So there you guys have excuse me. There you guys have it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. We had a lot of people on earlier, so it does mean a lot that they decided to stop by. So thank you all for stepping in, watching this stream. If you are watching this later and you're watching to the end, thank you very much. Please subscribe if you haven't. Give this a like. We're going to head out real quick, but I'll let Jonathan plug what he's doing. So, Jonathan, is there anything you would like to plug that the people should check out?
You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram at jpet1098, and also you can find me on Facebook at Jonathan Peck. And we have some going around on TNG Entertainment. We bring back like a movie. We currently right now movie backgrounds coming back, and currently we have some long matches, very good matches on there, and movie background along with it. And you even find one me on those videos, one of those matches. And also you can find some choke slam along with that and the other channel on the TMG debate. And also we just recorded the very first episode of the brand new revamp Sports Bra. I'm not gonna tell who the person is on there yet, but we finished our very first episode along with the revamped Sports Bra. And for those of you who are listening, if you're interested in going to Sports Bra, contact me or Papa West along with it. They're very interested to compete on it. So that's my plug so far. So that's it.
There you guys have it. And then, yeah, like we said earlier, if you're new or if you haven't already, would appreciate if you would click that subscribe button. We crossed 500 subscribers, which is awesome. We also have over 100 Twitter followers now, which is pretty cool too. So make sure to follow if you're new. Hit the bell icon that we get those notifications when we go live or when we upload. If you like the stream, click that like button and then let us know in the comments below your thoughts on all this stuff. So thank you very much for watching. For Matt and for Jonathan, that was weird how to say that. For Matt and Jonathan. For Jonathan and myself, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like it, make sure you watch one of these other two videos. They're cool. Also, if you're new, please click the subscribe button as well as the bell icon. I greatly